Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, we're going to take a look at the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway knife, which is the off-grid knives Mamba V3 and the Bullet V2. We're not just going to take a look at them. We're going to give them away. Let's see, the Jack Wolf Knives Bionic Jack. Super cool. New folding, flipping, locking folder from Jack Wolf Knives. And then, who's your favorite knife designer? Now, I'm asking you to take sides. I certainly am not. I mean, I have a lot of favorite knife designers. Each new one I talk to is my favorite. I love them all. But I want to find out who you guys are loving. You can tell from who I show off most often, who resonates with me. But then I look through my vast and irresponsibly vast collection, and I don't know. I see that there are some that I like more than others. Groundfog, a pleasure to have you here, sir. How are you? Pete Davidson. Sorry about that, Pete. You caught me mid-coffee break. Pete says, "G'day, Bob. Good day to you, sir. Jim and the rest of the mob. My favorite and most used designs come from those Glesser boys over at Spyderco." Yeah, I hear that. Instantly recognized and well thought out. Uncle Lynn and the team, close second. Of course, talking about Cold Steel, Uncle Lynn and the team. Yes, indeed. He just came on. He went on Scab's show, I think last night, with Joe. So that should be pretty cool. Great dude, of course. Awesome knives. Marco, good to have you here, Marco. Evening, Bob and Knife Junkies, he says. Well, evening to you, sir. I like your name. It's kind of my namesake in a way. James Hart, good to have you here, sir. Evening all, he says. Evening to you. OG Blades, Dave. Evening, Bob and Junkies. Favorite knife designers, Dirk, Kambu, and you, sir. You know just what to say to a guy. But yeah, Dirk is way, way at the top. You'll see that at my in my what do you call it? Pocket check. Yes. James Hart says, "I've never bought a custom knife of any kind, so I really can't answer this question." No, you can. I mean, because I was actually, when I thought of this question, I was thinking more of production knives, because so many different production companies now, that's their bread and butter, are their collaboration knives. For instance, if we get to Knife Life News, which we haven't on a Thursday Night Knives in at least 2 years. But if we do, we'll talk about Matthew Christensen and Concept. I love Matthew Christensen. First of all, great guy, amazing knives, amazing folders that I just can't imagine ever getting. They're very, very, exclusive and expensive. And but Concept is a great production company. Knives are life. Great to have you here, sir. Howdy, sir, he says. You can answer this question. Actually, you are better qualified to answer this question. Doug Bowl, nice to have you here. Doug, how you doing, sir? Howdy, Bob, and everyone on the chat. Well, hello to you. Doug, don't forget thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you. That's right. Thumbs up, especially right now with this thumb that I keep complaining about. It's funny because, my wife always says that men are babies when they're sick. I think that's a common trope. Luck Knives, how you doing? Howdy. Howdy to you, sir. Not that I'm saying my thumb is sick, but, I cut it real bad. Being a dumbass. Pete Davidson says, Bob, that Bob DeMarco guy does have some pretty sweet designs. I wonder when he's going to have a premium folder made in China come out. No. That's not going to happen. But look at this. I just unearthed. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but it's not in the offing or anything. Look at this. This is my most recent book. It's pretty much full. This is an older book. These are some smaller books. All full of DeMarco knife designs. I got tons of them. It's kind of where, I went to art school, so I have to draw something, but all I ever draw these days are knives. Gus Beck says, my favorite knife designer is probably Chris Reeve. Gus, great to have you here, sir, tonight. Although I enjoy Spyderco, Benchmade, Hinderer, Giant Mouse, and Chavez, to name a few. Yeah. And all of these, pretty much all of them have in common a very what am I trying to say? Clean aesthetic, clean lines, simple designs, nothing too choily, nothing too. Spyderco is an exception because they have such a vast catalog, and they do a lot of collaboration. So you'll see some ones that are a little bit out of the norm, but on the whole, most of the designs across all of those brands are pretty clean and purpose designed. Pardon me, Craig Vincent. Sorry. Yo, I've been downing all sorts of liquids tonight. I had a gin when I came home. Never do that, but I had a gin and juice. That was nice. And then I had a ton of water with dinner, and now I'm drinking a ton of water. And man, I'm sorry for the belching. Adrian Fighter 35. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and Knife Junkies. Good evening to you, sir. I think I missed a comment back there when I was talking about my bodily functions. Please excuse that. El Cap Addict. Nice to have you here, El Cap. Ray Laconico. Speaking of just clean, beautiful aesthetic. Ray Laconico is my favorite as a total body of work, although my single favorite design is from Alistair Phillips. Probably it's hard to choose just one knife. Alistair Phillips, who's that? Or what's that design? Let me know. But Ray Laconico, I couldn't agree with you more. That new concept, Ray Laconico was that concept? It's really nice looking. 3-inch blade. I don't have to get it, so I'm off the hook. But a beautiful, deep descending edged clip point. Looks a lot like a traditional, slip joint. Todd Carr says, evening, everyone. Well, evening to you, Todd. Always a pleasure. Favorite designer is, Andrew Demko. Again, Frank Castle. Nice to have you here, Frank. Texas Punisher. Pleasure, Frank. I like all of your movies so far. I like the offbeat early ones, but I also like the series. What's his name? That actor is so good, and he's a legit badass too. Apparently, Cooper Clark. A pleasure, Cooper. Good evening, all. Coopers were barrel makers. 5-door. Nice to have you here, 5-door. Greetings, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. He says, well, always greetings to you. 5-door is a Gentleman Junkie, as are a number of people in the comments. And tonight you will be on the wheel to win the Off-Grid Knives V3. Paul Mills, nice to have you here, Paul. Hi, Bobby says. Hello to you, sir. The Mamba V3. Howdy, Don Fry. Oh, howdy. I never say howdy, but it's been said to me, so now I'm saying it back. Donald Fry, nice to have you here, Donald. Howdy, everyone. Oh, you just said it to me. All right, good to be here tonight. Was it one gin, Bob? No, it was 2. But I did eat on top of it. I shouldn't be buzzed. But MagnaCut, titanium, golf ball texturing, frame lock, ball bearings, 4 inches on this blade. This thing, but thin and light. It's amazing. I love this. We're going to be giving this away to one lucky Gentleman Junkie, and then we're going to be putting this in too. This is the Bullet V3 bit driver. Have a nice day. Good to have you here, sir. Good evening, bladed brethren. Good evening, sir. He's been Have a Knife Day has been covering the Bowie knife world like no one else. Check it out, guys. This is, speaking of Bowie knife, this was just here for a pillow shot, but this is what we're giving away tonight. Definitely not this. That is mine. There are many like it, not too many like it, but it is mine. Stephen Clayton, nice to have you here, sir. Good evening, everyone. PKL Knives and you, Agent 001. Oh man, thank you. You cannot believe what a compliment that is to hear. I'm going to put this under here so we can get some nice light on it. I agree, and I think there's not a sale. That's not the right word. I think you can order these right now. I think that's happening. A number of, let's see, they just did like several a week back, like 6. They did like a month back. I'm sorry. And now I think they're putting these out again. I don't know. I can't remember. I can't keep up. I don't want to keep up because they still have a couple of knives I have to get from them. And I can't just go, dropping all that money. But man alive, I want the Sapper. That's the next TKL knife I get, is the Sapper. And well, I need to get all of the agents, but I haven't yet. So Anyway, thank you, Stephen Clayton. I do appreciate it. Our resident TKL knives expert. James Hart says, well, my favorite line of knives are the Buck 100 Classic Sheath knives. Case in point, this is the 119, right? 119. I love this knife. I have 7 of them, plus the Buck 110 folder. I love that. The Kalinga, never a fan of the Kalinga, I got to say. Not that I've ever used it and found it lacking, but just on looks alone, just being shallow, I never thought. And the rare one called the Buck Campmate 260. I don't know. That sounds cool. I love Buck too. I was just, I pulled this out tonight. I used to not like the very big handle. Now I love the very big hand. By big, I mean, it comes all the way to the guard. When you look at it, it's thick this way, it's thick this way. And I don't know if this is true or not, or it's not. I would imagine it's so that if you're using it for hunting purposes and it's bloody and stuff, you got a lot to grip onto. Split and Slices, nice to have you here, Byron. Howdy, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. TNK, not sure I have a favorite, but I truly respect. Oh, William Harsey Jr. Man, I did not even think of William Harsey Jr. And he is definitely in my top 3, or he's in my top 5. But definitely, maybe even in the top 3. Anyway, I love this shape. This was one that I always used to look at in the case at the hardware store when I was a little kid. I always wanted one of these. I think maybe in the 70s they had wooden handles. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I remember the blade shape for sure. It looked like exactly what I wanted out of a knife. A big swashbuckling swedge. And by the way, that's a 0 ground swedge. That's a fighting swedge if you're going to fight with it and be all slick with it and do back cuts. But you can do a lot with that swedge even if you turn it around and hit like that and then do the old heave ho. This is a great knife, and it's kind of a precursor, one of the many precursor knives to the K-bar. This knife and knives like this. Sorry, I'm on a Jag. I'm getting off it right now. Love this, by the way, too. The Boone 2, I've been carrying this a lot, unnecessarily around the house, but using it and lighting unnecessary fires outside of the house. And that's so I want to get more into that. Cooper Clark says favorite designers: Chris Reeve. Oh yes, Ben Peterson. Oh, another classic. Like his stuff is very simple and clean. Anzo Voxnez, David C. Anderson. Yeah, he just started he's got his knife line that he would have produced by TM Hunt. And I think his Nordic knives Nordic, I think it was called. But I think now he got one made. One is being, oh my God, he's having one OEM'd. I'm sorry, I'm being ridiculous here. Hinderer, Chavez, Koenig. Oh yes. We live in such a great time for high quality knives. We do indeed. Koenig, I did try out the Koenig Arius, and man, it felt spectacular in hand. I don't need it. I don't need to have that knife, but man, I really appreciated it. I appreciated the grind. I had to feel it. The grind was amazing. Felt really nice in hand, and the action was, all the people go crazy for it. But believe me, I understand latching onto something that you want so badly and lusting after it. For me, it's this knife and other knives like this. I could see how someone could go after the Koenig like that. Jeff Cast, nice to have you here, Jeff. I'm a fan of Ed Calderon. Yeah, me too. Dirk Pinkerton, yes. Bastian Cove, yes. And James Williams, 100 times yes, Jeff. I love all of these guys' designs. They are right up my alley. I do not have any. No, that's not true. I have a CRKT Obaki, I think it's called. Well, the Obaki was designed by Burnley, but I have a James Williams. It was an early James Williams. Damn it, what's it called? The Kobun or something like that. Or I don't know. Japanese. It was the first one he ever did with CRKT with the shiny blade and the molded handle. But what I'm getting at, I love all those designers, definitely. Gus Beck says, what was so therapeutic to hear you tell me my taste in knives is for clean designs. Verification is spotty in this hobby. Yes, some people despise like this kind of knife. Like Shane hates that Bowie shape. But to me, like that is a clean and pure and beautiful, perfect Bowie shape. So validation, right to you, sir. Right to you. If you're here, no matter what you like, that's your taste. God, look at this. In all of its aspects, it's like it's like how guitars and basses looked in old music videos back in the day. They would shoot them from all different angles, and you're like, oh man, I want to learn to play bass. This thing, I love this knife. It's so great. Craig Vincent says, I seem to have acquired a lot of Lynn Thompson, Andrew Demko designs. Yes, you have, Craig, and I'm not sure of the width and breadth of your collection, but I know every week you mention quite a few. Alistair Phillips, Redback or Spyderco Capara. Okay, the Capara, I know that. That's a point of reference for me. That Capara is beautiful, and so many people whose opinions I value love that knife. And I hear it's a great folding food prep knife. Not all knives, if you're in a pinch, you'll use a folding knife, but in the kitchen, chances are you have kitchen knives. You're not a total barbarian. Have a Knife Day says, Andrew Demko, designer of knives like the Cold Steel Espada. Yes, let me bring this out again. The Espada Large, not quite large enough, but it's large. I love this thing. I need to carry this more. This one is pretty pocketable in jeans, I gotta say. It doesn't, it's big and it's heavy, but it's fun. Five Door says, favorite designers right now, Scott Still's Edgy Blade Works. I love his stuff. I guess I got to bring him on. Or I would love to invite him on the show is what I mean. Scott Still's Edgy Blade Works. I forgot you have an Edgy. I know I held some of his knives this year, and I've been following him for maybe a year, but I love his unique blade shapes for sure. Sharif Manganas, Mangana Steel and others. B. DeMarco. Ah, shucks. Pinkerton. Yes. Hinderer, of course. Yeah. In terms of folders, man, it's hard to. Hinderer, Microtech for me. Microtech, Hinderer. I have all my Harzy. I'm not so much in a folder phase right now. I got some great ones right here, but a lot of them are right there. Really digging that. Stephen Clayton Jr. says, I have to add Bastinelli to the list. Absolutely. Bastinelli is a great designer. Bastian Cove is a great designer. Great dude. And his table at Blade Show is the coolest. It's big and it's really cool setup. And then he's got all of his beautiful stuff. And then over here up on a little bit higher table, it's like his fancy, beautiful, like handmade stuff. And then he's got a bunch of cool French people behind it. So kind of happy, and they're all cool and they look like French Foreign Legion dropouts. It's cool, man. And he's such a warm and great guy. So I couldn't agree more. But you put his knives in hand, they're so intuitive, they feel so good in hand, and they look beautiful. And he has great people manufacturing them. So great people being Italians. Drink water. Nice to have you here. Drink water. I keep telling myself that. My wife keeps telling me that. You know what? I'm 53 years old. I look at my skin. I'm like, I'm more wrinkled than I used to be. And then I'm like, maybe if you didn't drink so much coffee and you drank more water. Greetings. That knife looks awesome. Thank you. I think you're probably talking about this one here. And this is the Work Tough Gear V44X Bowie. Oh man. Oh my gosh. I'm having I'm having a brain freeze here. Regulated, well regulated on Instagram. I think that's how you find him. Designed this. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but it is an incredible knife. It actually it looks really big and heavy, and it is somewhat, but it's well balanced. I'm going to do that thing. It's well balanced like a fighting knife right there, because we've all been in so many knife fights, but it is very well balanced. And a lot of that has to do with the longer than I would have designed it handle, but I love it, which allows you to choke back and chop. Or when you're up here, it acts, like the pommel on a sword and balances things out. So the tip and the edge remains light and lively like the yogurt. So really nicely designed. And then if you choke up here for your quote unquote fine work, or what do they call it? Detailed work. I'm always detailing with a giant Bowie knife. No, but like if you're making feather sticks or you need to carve or something, and you need that choil, it's nice and rounded and chamfered and cozy. It's just warm and fuzzy. Jeff W says Bantang. Yes, Bantang. And he's one, or I don't know if you say he. I'm not sure if that's his name, but I know who you're talking about. And I think you can kind of purchase those knives if you seek out like Shivworks and stuff like that. But he does titanium stuff. And I was just talking with someone last night that you'll hear on Sunday, Ken Brock, who makes knives in titanium sometimes too. And I'm fascinated. And he showed one off that I just might ask how much it costs, because fantastic. But Jeff W, I'm liking where you're going. Bantang, Dirk Pinkerton, yes, of course. Jeff Turner, we'll come back there. Auxiliary Manufacturing, absolutely. Fred Perrin, absolutely. That means, so from everything else you've said, I need to know who Jeff Turner is, because I love all your other choices here. So Jeff Turner, what does he go by? Does he go by a company name? Let me know. Off Grid looks fantastic. Yes, sir. Where did I put it? Yeah, it is really good. And this is it's a nice size, but man alive, I gotta say, it does fit in the pocket really easy. It's one of those very light, large knives. Like, let me show you this. Okay, so this is 4 inches right here at the, I mean, you might consider, hang on a sec. Is this bigger than 4 inches? No, right about 4 inches from the peak right here, from the peak of the handle. So if you measure from right here, it's 4 inches to the tip. But let's face it, so you get 4 inches of cutting edge on this, which is pretty nice, and 9 inches overall. Experience Precision, nice to have you here, Experience. In here like golf gear. Oh my gosh, look at this. Speaking of golf gear, look at the pattern there. The milling on this is so nice. It looks great. It feels really good. And it reminds me of a golf ball. I've been calling it golf ball texturing. However, I have a golf ball on my dresser that I just gave to my buddy at work, because I don't golf, and I'm pretty sure it's somewhat hexagonal, maybe. Anyway, good to have you here, Golf Gear. Doug Bowl says, Bob, I'm sorry, your name isn't Golf Gear, but good to have you here, sir. Doug Bowl says, Bob, I guess my favorite designer goes back to Resin Bowie, brother of James. He designed the sandbar knife, 12-inch, straight spine, no guard, butcher style. I just bought one. Ooh, Doug. So Doug is a gentleman junkie. He has amazing taste. He's not only a gentleman junkie, he is a true gentleman and a scholar. Look at what he sent me. I love showing this off because it is so cool. This is the Eck dagger, the model 44, the Eck 44, made famous in World War II and then and coveted. I mean, this was not a too common knife. It was a commando sort of thing, as a matter of fact. So K-Bar manufactures this now. John Eck, Commando Knife Company, K-Bar, New York, Olean, New York. I love that S-guard. The long handle, at first I thought was like, oh, that's too big. But it allows you to use this saber grip with the thumb forward, which I find very, very comfortable when I'm doing Carenza, which is a shadow boxing with a knife. I really like this knife for that, actually, especially. Oftentimes with a dagger, here, like a dagger. Like, well, this one is actually similar. It's got a pretty long handle. This is the Harzy. Oh, I do have a Harzy out. This is the. Oh no, this is Les George. I'm sorry, Les George Spartan. It's long enough that I can do that saber grip, but with this and most other daggers, I'm doing this. I'm putting my thumb on the pommel and driving down like that. This one is too big, and then it's too big for that thumb capping thing, and then it's also, or that thumb capping hold, I should say, and then that protruding tang is great for breaking windows, probably, and prying stuff or whatever, but not for a thumb. That'd be very uncomfortable. So I'm not as crazy about this in reverse grip. However, if you do come up here, you do have some room to slide down and grip down, bear down, and stop on the guard if you're worried about sliding onto that handle. It's just not what I'm used to. I like to put the thumb there. So this is very much a forward grip dagger for me when I'm out doing wet work. And yeah, so I'm actually pretty thrilled about pretty happy about the long handle. That's my long way of saying, hey, Doug, how you doing, sir? Thank you. And resin Bowie. I like it. I can't wait to see it. And you mentioned it's like a butcher knife, and someone else mentioned Fred Perrin, and I don't have any Fred Perrin. Oh, that's not true. But this isn't the one I was going to talk about. But I do have a Fred Perrin out. But he's a big proponent of the blade as the guard, and that's a traditional French fighting thing. Actually, traditional French fighting knives look a lot like traditional French chef's knives, and the blade is wider than the forefinger area of the handle, and so that's what stops you from running up on the blade if you stab. Anyway, LL Coil J, that's right. I'm sorry, LL. I know you come here all the time, but for some reason your name just vexed me. Warren Thomas designed my first karambit, and I wish I could have afforded some of his customs. Ooh. Warren Thomas. I know he's a big name, but I'm having trouble conjuring up his knives in my mind's eye. James Hart says the Kalinga is more or less dedicated skinning knife. Okay, that's what I thought. Also good for breaking down big game. Oh, so pretty narrow use. Honestly, I thought the Kalinga always looked a little bit like a fantasy knife, but I know I know its intended purpose, and I can also see why it excels at that. But I always thought it was a little like fancy. Donald Fry says my favorite. Now I need to see a Kalinga to see if I'm actually remembering, or if this is me misremembering what it looks like. Donald Fry says my favorite designers are Chris Reeve and William Harzy. A classic. Donald Fry, classy kind of guy. Love that bank vault precision feel. Absolutely, I know exactly what you mean. That's yeah. To me, that's what the Spartan Harzy folder is, like a Chris Reeve in that way, and a Hinderer in the standoffs and stout construction way to me. Like yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Todd Carr says Bob Terzuola is another maker designer that I really like as well. Me too. And I think I can say I only have one of his designs, and it's the Tomashi E from Civivi, the sweet Japanese Quaken. Pete Davidson says some more favorites. Almar, yes. Bill Bagwell. I mean, hey, if we're going there. Mike Stewart, yep. I think I have some Mike Stewart on the. No, yeah, no. Anyway, Blackjack and Chris Reeve, not Chris Reeve, Bark River Knives, and the maker and designer of that knife that was first made, I believe, by Smith and Wesson, like a gun company. I can't remember who. Big, broad shaped Bowie, the Shining Mountain Bowie shape. And then it was somewhere else, and then it came to, and then it was at Blackjack in the, I can't remember the name of the blade there, but it's the same Bowie shape. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I love Mike Stewart, and he's a cool guy too. Still a smoker, and he does those videos where he shows off his knives, new knives out of Bark River. I guess I'll use this, and I'll say, this one has a black micarta handle, so this one is mine. Cool guy. Bob Terzuola, Bob Lovelace. Yes. So Bob Lovelace, this is my favorite design of his, though I would love to have others. This is hogtooth knives made Loveless sub-hilt fighter, Bob Lovelace, one of the guys to start the American Knife Makers Guild, right? Knife Makers Guild, is that it? Yeah. He is the guy who invented this sub-hilt and turned it into a fighting knife with the long clip point double edge, like full double edge clip point blade that's long and sinuous. It's not sinuous, it's just long and thin and great for stabbing and great for slashing in both directions. It's just great for fighting. And then this sub hilt there is for a couple of things. Primarily, once you jam it into your enemy, you can pull it out and you have something to pull against. But also, if you're doing these kind of snap cuts that are done a lot with Bowie knife fighting, and that's kind of comes from saber fighting, I think. It's like a trigger point, and you're hitting it like a drumstick, and it's a place to hold on to. Are you thinking of CRKT Hisatsu by James Williams? Yes. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. 5-door Craig Vincent saying he's acquired a lot of Lynn Thompson is probably the greatest understatement of all time. Yes, sir. Indeed. Lou Zur, good to have you here, Lou. Chicks don't go for the bass player. Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, tell me about it. That's all right. Pete, I'm a knife guy. So that's a double whammy. They don't go for the bass playing knife guy. Pete Davidson says, I wish James Keating, yes, did more with Spyderco. Okay. I need to look him up. I think I tried once and then gave up. Oops. Get out of my face, Microsoft. James Keating. So if you don't know who James Keating is, look him up on YouTube. You'll see some cool old videos. But he's this skinny dude, skinny, wiry dude who is an American Bowie knife fighting phenom. He knows all about the history and the usage and different ways to fight with a Bowie knife. And, he wears these big leather cuffs, and he would always fight with, or everything that I ever saw James Keating do, if it wasn't his own design, it was a Bill Bagwell. I think he liked the, one of the Bill Bagwell Bowies, the something Mistress or the Hell's Bells, or, with the big sort of U-shaped guard where it's got a bigger channel down in the bottom and a little one up at the top, but big long guards. So cool. Long fighting Bowie. Want a Bagwell so badly. I got to hold one, like a legit Bagwell, like a custom made one at Blade Show, and it was so cool. It was so awesome, and the guys were very cool. I was like, I'm not buying it, but can I pick that up? They're like, sure, go ahead. I was like, oh my god. They're like, yeah, right. Pete Davidson said, I wish James Keating would do more with Spyderco, and something about the Chinook that is appealing to me. Maybe it's the curves. Yeah, well, it's all about getting I remember reading about, because he did the Chinook, there was the Chinook 1 and the 2, and I remember reading about it when it first, like a long time ago, and he was saying that his Luck Knives says TJ Schwartz designed the Arius, not Koenig. Yeah, you're right, we're talking designers. TJ Schwartz is an amazing designer, and he did a cool knife. I'm coming back to Bagwell. Oh, I'm going to forget. But TJ Schwartz did a cool knife with no hardware called the Europa or something. I can't remember what it was. It was super cool. All right. Sorry. I guess the Bowie Jag ends. I spaced. Best podcast, brother. Jason Cosby. Nice to have you here, Jason. Best podcast. Thank you, sir. I greatly appreciate that. That puts a lot of wind in my sails. Have a Knife Day says, so many. Yes, indeed. So many, sir. I recently got my first Lacey Zabo. I love Lacey Zabo. So he designed the Felony Stop. That's the only Lacey Zabo. No, that's not true. I have the Express also, the Tops Express. That was a Lacey Zabo. He was a former Marine and then a law enforcement officer, colleague guy. And he designed, really, look him up. He's another guy. Just Google Lacey Zabo and do an image search and look at all the really, really cool, very tactical designs he did. Loser says Italian knife tubers are the best. .it. Right on, sir. Couldn't agree more. Luck Knife says, a go French maker. I'm currently at the home stretch on a custom build. Has great original designs, and I think he has a bright future. Okay, I'm gonna write him down. So if you don't remember, Luck Knives, Mike was NAF sergeant and a great reviewer of knives before he moved on to bigger and better things. I'm sorry, Jim, can you bring that last one up just so I can? Oh, AGO, I can remember that. But he was NAF sergeant and evaluating knives on YouTube before making them. And his knives are amazing. I think it was a great career change. But during that time, I loved watching his videos, and I really trust his assessment, especially of fine folders, for sure. But right now, he's making fine fixed blade knives. So go check him out well, actually, I don't know where he's at, but definitely check him out. Let us know where they can find you. I was about to try and read off a web, I guess luckknives.com or on Instagram. Todd Carr says, so many great designers out there that if you mention their name, I remember who they are, but can't for the life of me think of their names myself. Yeah, I know. How old are you, Todd? Are you my age? Because maybe that's just about being. Cooper Clark says Matt Helm is another excellent designer. I agree. The dog bone is an amazing pocket fixed blade, and the guys over at whatchamacallit are making it. These too many names. Is just like Todd Carr just said. Too many names. Manufacturing is in their name. They're making it, and they're awesome. And yeah, I like that dog bone, and it's been made in a couple of different blades, I believe. Turner CNC, yes. Jeff W's. I'm saying yes. Turner CNC, absolutely. The gin is so beautiful, and that big Bowie with the super sharp swedge. Oh, yeah, and then the other one, the small sort of the smaller EDC Bowie, so cool. I need a Turner CNC in my life for sure, definitely. And then that the what do they call it? The machete that fits up the arm, the sleeve. Craig Vincent says, Bob, I always mention my fondness for cold steel, but my collection actually consists of more than 115 different makes. There's a ton of designers represented in there. Oh, man, I bet. But, we all have our proclivities, and we all have our, like, Pinkerton keeps coming up. And for me, he's tops, baby. I carry him a lot, but in my thing over there, yeah, same thing. I've got tons and tons of, and I'll open it up, and I'll open up drawers and pick things up and wow, marvel over it. And I don't carry it because I'm more used to carrying something else, but it doesn't mean I want to get rid of it or I don't love it and it's not great to have. Autumn Wind, nice to have you here, sir. Hello all, he says. Well, hello to you, sir. Loser says Corenza. Is it like Taibo or Buns of Steel exercises with knives? No, it's Carenza. I think it's Karenza. It's a Filipino term from Kali for when you're doing this kind of stuff, but not against anyone, and you're just doing it in the air and you're flowing. This kind of stuff. Practicing your angles and your footwork and all that. Carenza. But I don't really know how to spell it. You don't spell it, son. You eat it. Tell me what that movie's from. French fighting knife is an oxymoron. I think, loser, I think you underestimate the French. They had an empire. So, there's that. Paul Mills says, LOL. Yeah. I can't remember what it's about, Paul, but I appreciate it because I'm sure it would make me laugh. Doug Bull said, Bob, I actually bought two. I will be sending you one to add to your... Oh, get out of here, man. Doug, stop it. But if you must. No. We will talk offline, but that's amazing. And there's something else that's similar and we'll talk about that. Canary SK, nice to have you here, Canary, or Canaries K. Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Thursday to you, sir. The French. You know what's funny is, like, you think of the stiletto, the kind of like long, thin Italian knife that seems like it would be a French knife too. You know what I mean? The French knives are a little bit broader, a little more slashy. But just in terms of temperament, you might think of, a good like sneak up on them and like stab them knife as being French. And I love the French. Don't get me wrong. I've been there several times and have used to have some friends over there. And I never got that vibe that people always talk about. But maybe I'm not an idiot, and I certainly wasn't trying to be a Francophile. But I never had a problem. Maybe it was my blue jeans. They're like, oh, what is this? What is this? These pants, these pantaloons he's wearing. He looks like a cowboy. Maybe it was that. Experience Precision says, you guys see the 60-year anniversary drop from Buck. Oh, the 110 in Magna Cut. No, I have not. I just saw the Prince. Is that what it's called? Or the 55, the one, the Knife Nerds version in Magna Cut of the little one. I think it's nicknamed the Prince, but it's the smaller version of the 112. Jesse, nice to have you here, Jesse. Even and all, but no, I haven't seen that, but I look forward to it, and we'll probably cover it on the next Wednesday show. I love all the cool special buck drops. I don't have any of them, but I love it. Hitting the racks. So today's carry is below. Wait. Sorry, we haven't done a knife check. We're almost 41 minutes in. Don't go, Dave. Tell us live right now, and then we will go to our pocket check. Let us know, because Dave has some of the most superlative blade pocket checks out there. So as we wait for him to type it up, we will. Today's carry: Tenable Bomber. Okay, the Best Tech Classic, Kaiser Militao Fixie. That looks cool. ProTech Tactical Response 4. Jealous, or Orion Aries. That I gotta get that too. That is a beautiful. I think that's his best looking design yet. Bastinelli Mako folder. The BRS Blade Runners Thresher. Okay, XL. So that's the Gavco design. Fox Bante. I love that knife. He loaned that to me for a little while. It was hard to send back. And the Olight Arkfeld. Man, awesome carry. I have to watch your video on the Tenable. I haven't seen it yet. Dave, have a fine evening and a wonderful weekend. Always good to have you here. Dave is the guy who gives us a lot of knives that we give away here. He's a very generous guy with an amazing and sprawling collection. So go check him out at OG Blade Reviews right here on YouTube. Okay. He did not give us this fine evening. However, we're giving this away tonight. But Carrie Orifice of Off Grid Knives gave this to us. And I've never actually heard him say his last name. But I just assume he's Italian. And so I say Orifice, and he doesn't correct me. So I'm assuming that's right. We'll be giving that away in about 15 minutes or so. And I promise I will stay on schedule. But first, it's time for a pocket check.
What's in his pocket? Let's find out. Here's the Knife Junkie with his pocket check of knives.
Front right pocket. All this Dirk Pinkerton talk, it was very apropos. This is what I had in my front right pocket. This is the Standoff prototype, soon to be open for pre-order. He's just homing in on the colorways he's going to go with. I'm very excited about some that he has proposed to me, and I'm sure to others in personal chats. And this I love. He has officially gifted this to me. I think it's because I dragged my feet on sending it back. He says, just keep it. No, he was very, very generous, and I'm very excited about having this. Okay. All right. Okay. So Jim is saying I do pronounce Orifice correct, as he told me in our first interview that I was saying it correctly. Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you, sir. This right here is the black on black, as you can see. I know that there's going to be a like reverse tuxedo and a bronze, and I can't remember the others, but I'm count myself very lucky to have this prototype. There will be some changes. This, of course, is under his shingle. So this is a Dirk Pinkerton knife. I'm not sure who OEMs it. I frankly actually haven't asked him, and I will, but I will only release that information if he says I can. But I'm interested now. It's really, really well made. I know that the fuller, he's going to make the fuller sharper to make reverse the Spidey flick possible. In this prototype, it was made too soft, like the transition here, so you can't really grab it. You can sort of grab it if you with some wrist and at a very particular spot, but I did that a number of times and dropped it and didn't want to keep doing that. So that's one of the things that will be changed. I think he's got 2 changes, but I don't remember what the other one is. So beautiful, so great in hand. I love this thing. It's a great cutter, super sharp, S90V, titanium, just a positively outstanding and true Wharncliffe blade. By true Wharncliffe, I mean perfectly straight edge and then a continuous drop from the handle to the tip. All right, next up, another true Wharncliffe. This is the Jack Wolf Knives Venom Jack from a couple of months ago. This is probably my favorite slip joint from Ben in a long time. Probably that's such a vague statement, but I really, really am crazy about this one. I love the way it looks. It feels great. The action is super tight as usual. And oh, that's not the button. Let me go. Okay, I wanted it to get brighter. But that sort of distressed titanium and that dark red carbon fiber with the acid stonewash blade, it's just beautiful. And as I was saying over, look at that Jim on my hand there. Jim, there's something I got to tell you. But as I kept saying over and over, it looks like an artifact. It looks like an old knife. And I absolutely love this thing. I don't think I pulled it out of my pocket today, but had it in there, nestled right to this Wharncliffe. And that's a very rare thing that I would carry a slip joint and a regular folder in this with the same blade. So there you go. What can I say? The like Pluto must be in retrograde or something like that. Okay, so this is the Hogtooth Knives Ruffian. It's that time of year I can carry my Ruffian again, meaning it's just a little bit on the large side, but when the heavier clothes come out and I'm wearing overshirts and kind of jackets all day and that kind of thing, I can wear this in my waistband over here, and it's not, it's very discreet. No one sees it, and it's a pleasure. And on jeans and sort of this weather, fall weight wear, like jeans and such, it's not so bad. Fall weight wear, like in the fall, I'm like, oh, time to pull out my fall weight wear. I don't have that a wardrobe like that, but what I mean is I'm more apt to wear heavier clothing, and that supports a bigger, heavier knife, because this is not necessarily a light knife. It's a, for an EDC fixed blade, what is this? It's 4.5 inches in blade length. So, it's a nice little chunk. And I cannot wear that one appendix. This one has to definitely ride in my waistband. So had that on me today. Only pulled it out to feel cool. And then lastly, speaking of which, I had the Immortal on me. This is a total random choice today. And because I was like, what's the most different kind of blade? I have 2 Wharncliffes. This is the kind of way I make decisions sometimes. It's what I spend my bandwidth on sometimes. But it was fun to have this knife on me because I never carry this, rarely carry this. This was adopted from a box that Dave, who just went to bed, sent, and very, very grateful to have him send this because they discontinued it, and I got to adopt it into my sprawling cold steel folder collection, or just cold steel collection. I shouldn't even qualify it, but what an awesome knife. It's like a double Tonto slash modified gladius. We're going to call it that. This is a modified gladius or double tanto. Yeah, either will work. But yeah, it's got a hollow grind, which you don't see much from Cold Steel anymore. Flat grind up here, flat ground swedge, extreme swedge. You know, it's all coming to a diamond point. You could make a big hole in something with this for sure. Also has a very generous handle that you can come all the way back here for that saber grip and have plenty of room, even if you have bigger mitts. Like, look at all that room. And then in reverse grip, I love this. It's got that sort of gear pattern, aluminum or titanium. I think it's probably aluminum or steel backspacer there with all of that jimping. It just grabs your thumb. And if you needed to use it like this, pound it into that 55-gallon oil drum full of Uzis, it would not slip out of your hand. And it's got that beautiful, beautiful sort of symmetrical shape. So love the Immortal. Haven't carried it, but I'm so glad to have it. Haven't carried it in a long time, I should say. But it was good to have with me. It wasn't necessarily on me as these other three were. So what'd you have? Oh my God, it took me forever to get to this. We're about to give away the knife. Let me know what you had on you. Let it rip. Let me know. Let me know. And then also, were you carrying one of your favorite designers today, as I was? I mean, yeah, all four of these are some of my favorite designers. So let me know. Peterbilt Knife Guy, good to have you here, sir. Good evening. I love your videos, Peterbilt. Good to have you with us. Go check out Peterbilt Knife Guy on YouTube. He does a lot of, well, he seems to get his knives like disgustingly sharp, and he does a lot of, I don't want to call it myth busting. That's a corny term, but let's say he says it like it is, and he shows the receipts, as the kids like to say, with his videos. So go check them out for sure. Craig Vincent says, I found a late 60s, early 70s fixed blade that's nice, in a pawn shop. I like pawn shop knives. That was designed by an up-and-coming designer named Gil Hibben when he worked for Browning. How cool. Gil Hibben. So Gil Hibben, I like his knives, some of them. I also my very first martial art was Aikido, but that was like for 6 months, and then I got really into Kempo karate for years, and Gil Hibben was big into that, and he was like friends with Ed Parker, the guy who started Kempo karate, and he designed 2 Kempo knives. They were both very cool, both different. The first one looked like a Bowie, kind of stylized 70s Bowie, and then the second one looked more like a barong. And I always wanted those knives. I think Gil Hibben, and then he designed some that were really cool. One was in the that was thrown in Natural Born Killers. That dagger. There were a couple of knives, and then he had that one deep recurve Bowie. He had a golden era, and then he crested, and then he went into the total cheese fantasy knives, like knives that look like dragons and shit. But Gil Hibben had a real serious period of knife making and knife design before the 80s happened, and all that implies, I guess. Pete Davidson says James Keating's instructional videos for the Matriarch is hilarious. He seems like a fun guy. Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot the Matriarch, the recurve, the Spyderco tactical. I forgot he did that. Wait, did he do that? Is that the Matriarch you're talking about? But I seem to remember something about that. He seems like a fun guy. Because I remember numerous of his instructional videos for regular long Bowie knife fighting, and yeah, he does seem like a fun guy. Mark Salva says, "Good evening from the Finger Lakes region of New York. Oh, beautiful! It's God's country up there. Good evening to all my fellow junkies. Good evening to you, Mark. Let's cut to the chase and let the show begin. Let's be clear. Let's get to the point." Mattisfaction, good to have you here, Mattisfaction. Sharif Manganis is my favorite knife designer. Yeah, you mentioned him in our conversation, and I believe I reached out to him. I need to follow up, rattle his cage, as they say. Sorry. when I have Neuralink, all this stuff will be written down like immediately. I won't have to. It'll just. Have a Knife Day says the Zabo folder. Yeah, so cool. It looks like a pirate knife, which is a larger size for Spyderco. Started out life as a butterfly knife called the Zabo fly, right? And he is also originally from France, having served in the French military. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, that Zabo folder has the compression lock, but that I remember reading that they added a safety feature because it had such a big blade that you can't like flip it back in like a Para 2 or a military or anything like that. It would kind of stop and then you have to click it in. Can you corroborate that? Have a nice day. Will be nice to have you here, sir. Hello, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. I'm a bit late. Well, here's what you stand to gain for showing up. In 4 minutes, sir, we're going to be doing the drawing for this 4-inch Magna Cut and 5-inch titanium handled off-grid knives, Mamba V3, plus a cool bit driver. I love the bit driver. That's my main bit driver, is the off-grid. Right here, the Bullet V2. So thanks for joining us, sir, and keep your eyes peeled on the wheel. Zabo then came to America on a green card and joined the Marine Corps, then returned to the military when 9/11 happened, joining the Army. A lot of interesting facts. Oh, talked with him on the phone. How cool. Maybe you can hook me up with him. But we will talk about that offline. You see, when you talk to knife guys, you gotta wheel and deal. No, but I'd love to talk to him. That sounds awesome. Karenza, Karenza. Thank you. Akin to shadow boxing. Yes, sir. Kar. Pete Davidson, try telling Fred Perrin he's an oxymoron. Thank you, Pete. That was well said. Well said. Yeah, Fred Perrin, who did, last time I've chatted with him twice now. And the last time, I know I keep talking about it, but it's fun. With Zach Wingard at Wingard's at his table on Sunday at the end of Blade Show. So people were kind of casual and being fun, and Fred Perrin was there, and he was just he's so cool, and he's got weapons, little weapons on him, and he could just kill you with them or whatever. But he's a cool guy, and we were talking, and he illustrated something on me, with my permission, but it was so smooth, so cool. It was a footstep C-lot thing where you turn the head and step on the foot, and you kind of fold awkwardly. Luckily, it's been done on me enough that I was able to catch myself, so I didn't look like a fool to too many people around me. And then also, I was sending physical messages to Fred Perrin, like, yeah, I can hang. Yeah, Fred, you can break my neck. Go ahead, man. Or manipulate my neck. Anyway, yeah, Fred Perrin, very cool guy. And I love all of his little knifey things. Follow him on Instagram and see the stuff he makes by hand. There's a lot of cool stuff. Have a Knife Day says the French and Spanish blade. Blade fighting style greatly influenced the Bowies, and they look very similar. You can see that in, the gaucho. The gaucho looks like, and I know that's South American, Argentinian, but that's by way of Spain, and it looks a lot like the French fighting knives. They basically look like Western chef's knives, which are responsible for the most killings by knives. So I guess it all is, it all makes sense. Robert Strebin, nice to have you here, Robert. Good evening. No, I'm just, like I tell my daughters, you're not the author of the book. Stop adding words. Okay. Good Thursday evening, Bob, Jim, and all you other junkies out there. Well, it's good to have you here, Robert. I always like having you here, sir. Michael Elliott says, pocket check, Gunfighter Customs. Ooh, okay. He was just on the show. I got to get something from them. Gunfighter Customs, Gunfighter, GFC Reaper. Okay, which one is? I'm not sure which one that is, but I know I like it because I like everything they do. But cool. Are you the guy who designed it, Michael? I'm pretty sure the Reaper, if I'm not pretty sure he said someone designed that. Is that you? Because you seem to be a Kali guy and you know how to spell Karenza. Microtech Combat Troodon Gen 3. Very nice. Dave has been showing off his Gen 3 Tonto. Cold Steel Black Talon 2 serrated, just an absolute chainsaw. Microtech LUDT. Curious what generation. I have the 2. I think I got the last one on the market. It's purple. I love it. And the SOCOM Auto. Very nice. Nightcore EDC 35, a flashlight. Awesome. Very nice. So, Michael, do you incorporate, obviously you do Kali. Do you incorporate lights into your, do you ever think about lights into your self-defense? I think it's interesting. I never actually like think about it or really train it or think about training it or think about how I would train it. But I know some other people do, and I think it's cool. Split and Slices says pocket check. Okay, Byron, let's see. Day 20 of 30 and day 20 of 30 of a 1 in 5 carry. Leather EDC pouch, Rise Mart flashlight, O-Knife Auticule multi-tool, field pen, Rosecraft briar patch jack. That's what it is. That's a beautiful one. I've been seeing you post it. Did you post that? I've seen your briar patch jack and its red handle, and it's quite beautiful. Stephen Clayton Jr. says, Rem Alliance Scourge, TCal Agent 001, a fine choice. The 002, the 003, also fine. Combatant, I love that one. And you got one of the new ones. Stephen Clayton was hot after my Combatant, and I respected the chase, but I was like a betrothed woman. I was like, I can't. I'm betrothed. But your Combatant, you got the new blade, man. Whew, I need that. The Raider, the Taylor's Ridge, the TS-87, that's the tactical screwdriver, basically. The FLN, the Guardian, the Night Guard 2.0, or the NG 2.0. Night Stalker CG, that's combat grade. I think that's a thicker blade. The Piranha, that's tiny. That's in your pocket, no doubt. The Accomplice, the Gideon 3, the Striker, and the Wingard Wearables micro dick pic. So if you're new to the show, you'll hear me say this every time, but Stephen Clayton, I met him in person, and he actually does carry all of these knives on him, and it's not like obnoxious and weird. It's just like, hey, how you doing? It was great to meet you in person. I'm like, do you really have all those on you? And he's like, yeah. He just pulls this back, and boom, there's a FLN, and yeah, they're all on him. He is that guy. He is that guy in the movies. I'm trying to think. Oh, Lou Diamond Phillips. He is Lou Diamond Phillips in Young Guns. Pete Davidson says, day off today, so lightweight carry. Delica Warncliffe in K390. The Mini Champ. The big eye bolt. Wait, I'm sorry. The big one or I design bolt action pen. Olight Baton. The Zippo with butane. Nice. All brass. My all brass Zippo is definitely, well, it's my second most prized Zippo, and a Perrin Bowie shoved in my shorts. I love it. I gotta get a replacement to my street Bowie that I broke the tip off when I was stupid and threw it. Paul Mills says, I've got my bug out. I love that. And ABW slip joint today. Okay, ABW slip joint I carried just this past week. You saw that yesterday on the Wednesday show, and I hadn't carried that in a few months, and I forgot how awesome that knife is. I mean, it's so cool looking, and it feels great in hand. It's just small enough to not have to carry in a slip, but it's great, and it's so thinly ground. I love that knife. Have a Knife Day says, camera shaking like a great California shakeout. Is my camera shaking? Hope not. We just had the great American shakeout at work, and I was supposed to tell people to get under their desks, but no one was there. Everyone teleworks, man. Loser says, fall weight wear. Yes, I'm wearing my spring weight suit. Oh, you shook it early when switching the light. Okay, thank you. Will B says, I carry big knives in summer, winter, whenever. Well, yeah, I would, but I have the light ones too. The blue liners on the Ruffian are a nice touch. Well, thank you. That was that was my touch. Actually, I had a chance to actually custom order this because I was at his shop with my mom and dad, because my dad, for a big anniversary, got my mom some custom kitchen knives from him, and my sister lives kind of up that way, and so we all made a trip up there, and then we met up with Matt. And while I was there, I was like, "Oh, today's my birthday, so I'll be buying a knife from you, or ordering one from you today." And I picked out a ruffian, picked out the scales and the liners. I love this thing. So this is what birthday was this? 51, I think was that. Have a Knife Day says, I have a Cold Steel Black Sable in my hands as my emotional support knife, my ESK. Oh, that Sable, that is such a cool knife. Look that up if you don't know what that is. There was a period of time in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, something like that, where Cold Steel put out this is just for illustrative purposes, but they put out a series of knives that had like polished micarta and aluminum bolsters, but there are these incredible folders. And one of them, the Black Sable, has this beautiful curved tanto, so nice looking. I remember seeing that in the poster of a horror movie, and I was like, that knife is 1,000 times better than that movie will be. And I was also betting myself that they didn't use that knife in the movie, but I never bothered to check. Adrian Fighter 35 says, pocket check for today, Cold Steel Formax Scout. Very nice. Tie-Light Chris Blade serrated version. That is wicked. Coben serrated boot knife. Very nice. And the Double Agent 2 Bowie style serrated. So everything's serrated with you except for the Formax. So I'm assuming the Formax is your workaday knife, and then the Tie-Light serrated, the Tie-Light Chris serrated, the Coben serrated, and the Double Agent, all very tactical. Those are for fighting and getting people off you. Demko is a great designer. I couldn't agree more with you, sir. Lou says Cold Steel has a one-day sale going on for the American Lawman for 50%. What? I'm gonna tip my table and go running to the. Yeah, I gotta get that, because I had an American Lawman, one of the early ones, and I know that they slimmed it out and changed this, upgraded the steel since I had mine, and that was an amazing knife. I should get that. James Jones, nice to have you here, James. The Medford 187 on an undercover in a Tex Creek 69. Oh, I love the Tex Creek. So the 69. Wait. Okay, so Medford 187, cool knife. Even though Medford, I'm hot and cold on. Not him as a person. He is who he is, but his knives, at least his older knives, kind of look like he doesn't like knives, but that 187 is pretty cool. And I kind of miss my Praetorian. But the Tex Creek, what's the 69 edition? What does that mean? Because the Tex Creek, I featured that a couple of weeks ago as one of my all-time favorite, like, single blade options. I love that knife. But I can't remember the 69. I know they put out a 20-year anniversary version of the Tex Creek. So let me know. Craig Vincent says the 8010 limited edition Recon 1 Spear Point. Okay. Okay, very nice. Recon 1 Spear Point, the XL Voyager Tonto, the Frenzy 2, love it. Range Boss, the 4-inch Talwar, got to get that. Land 912, what's that? Land 912. Kaiser PPY. Kaiser PPY. I thought it was the Spyderco PPY, the Perrin knife, the PPY. Sorry, it's itchy down here. The Phoenix for my walk in the woods. Okay, and my new 3V Recon Scout and Trailmaster Sanmai. I like the way you just, and Trailmaster Sanmai in the end. Great carry, all of those things. Trailmaster, if I had to pick one, really honest to goodness, if I had one knife, desert island knife, like an actual desert island knife, I think it would have to be the Cold Steel Trailmaster. I have yet to. I mean, that's just been my go-to knife. I just love that knife, and I know it can take a hell of a lot of, at least being pounded into wood and that kind of thing. So, right now at this moment, I feel like it would be that, because it's also great. I feel like it would be a great fighting knife too. It moves so nicely. So if you don't have a cold steel, I'm starting to grow my beard. Everything's itching now. Sorry. I feel like it's going up into my nose. So yeah, if you if you don't have a Trailmaster and you need a Bowie knife or you need a fixed blade knife, maybe you just one, get that. Oh my God, look at the time. Let's give away this knife. All right, guys, it's time. Canaries. Kay says, "What do you think of Rainy Valatin's custom folders?" I don't know. I know his father, Butch, and I like Butch Valatin or Valaton or however you pronounce it. I love his folders, and I like his collaboration with Spyderco, and I know that he has a son, but I can't conjure up his work I can't think of it, but I bet it's awesome. I don't know. What do you think about? I mean, tell me about what you like about it and what his designs are like. Kind of paint a picture for me. All right, Jim. Thank you, sir. Okay, we're gonna read off our gentleman junkies here, and they are all in the running for this. And I'm just put it down here. The bullet. All right. Thank you so much, guys. We have Five Door, Ben Belkin, Billy Ford, Byron Kennedy, Colin Maison Pierre, Craig Vincent, Donald Fry, Doug Bull, EDC Gear Guy. He's new. Thank you so much, EDC Gear Guy. He is a new gentleman junkie. Thank you so much, sir. Edwin Callow, Gavin Kalitis, Isaiah Ramirez, Jay McConnell, Jeff Hamilton, Jeff Wright, Jesse Tellis, Jock's Knife, JVF, Kay Mason, Larry Elizondo, Mark Salva, Martin Gamboa, Never Enough Knives, 007, PJ DOEF, Scott Nelson, Sean Curry, Stephen Michael Roberts, Thomas Butler, Tony Kim, V2. That's a personal one. Northern Knives, and Will Be. Thank you, one and all. Let us spin the wheel and find out who gets this awesome knife. All right. Shall we? Oh, I think Jim is bringing it up, conjuring it with his magic. Alrighty, Jim. Let's spin in 3, 2, and 1. Oh, look at her go. Oh, my goodness. Look at her go. No way. Stephen Michael Robert, you, sir, are the winner of this here off-grid knife. This thing is awesome. You will love this, sir. You will love this. Just look at this knife. This is Stephen Michael Roberts. All righty, sir. I will get this out post haste to you. Just let me know. Let me know where. Oh, what am I talking about? Stephen Michael Roberts. I know where you live. I will get this to you personally. This is awesome. All right. Well, we have a winner, Stephen Michael Roberts. He is actually a Patreon gentleman junkie who lives very close by, so I can hand deliver that. That's awesome. You saved me $4.50, man. That's the gift that keeps on giving. See, gentleman junkies, gentlemen through and through. I do appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, now I got to figure out what's going to be next month. It's got to be something cool. And I think this time it'll be something fixed. I think we'll do something fixed blade. So I'm going to have to go look around. Loser says the perfect weapon was a cool Kempo movie. You're right. You're right. What was that guy's name? Jeff Speakman. Jeff Speakman, the only Kempo movie I remember, and I remember he beats the crap out of a couch, like because Kempo dabbles in Kali, I think, because I don't mean to, it's not a full embrace like JKD, but they do some Kali to great effect. That's the first exposure I had to it, and there's a scene where he's freaking pissed and he's gonna go after the bad guy. I don't remember the details, but he stands his couch up on end. He gets out his Kali sticks, does Sinawali and beats the crap out of it. Chicks dig guys with brain implants. Neuralink sexy. That's gonna be me. That's me coming up here. I just have to get Elon Musk to sponsor the show, and then we'll be good to go. Blade Banter, nice to have you here. Evening, sir. I have to say, man, your new knife design is super awesome. Really, really love it. If you don't know, Blade Banter is also Orion Knives. So go check out. Dave was mentioning it before, and now the model name eludes me. But I think it is spectacularly beautiful. I love the I love the Tonto with the fuller. I think it's just so cool. So nicely done, sir. Hats off to you. Pete Davidson says, "Get Fred on the show." I've tried, and I'll try again. Actually, I think now that I've had Vol West from Station 9 on, he could probably help me get Fred Perrin. His English is better than my French. Let's put it that way. I'm not sure if he would be comfortable. I'm pretty sure he said he would not be comfortable doing a 1-hour conversation, but he didn't say I wouldn't be comfortable, because he's kind of a tough guy. I think it was like, no, my English or whatever. Let's see, Vol West. I'll ask him. That's good. That's a good idea. Ouchie EDC, howdy. Good to have you here, Ouchie. I I see Peter P. Tier Griffin, and it makes me laugh. Gary Bucco, nice to have you here, Gary. Buquat. I don't know. Actually, help me out with a phonetic spelling, if you don't mind. I would appreciate it. Greetings, Bob, here in the great state of Arizona. Love your show. Thank you so much, Gary. I appreciate that. And Arizona, I love your state. I like especially the northern part, but I also had a great time in Phoenix. Though my first time in Phoenix, I was like, God, this is a godforsaken place. It was like August, midday, and we rolled through and rolled out. So I didn't have much of an impression. But anyway, Arizona, beautiful state. Thank you so much for the kind words. James Hart said, I did not leave the house today due to not feeling well. I'm sorry to hear that, sir. My knees hurt. Oh, my God. I got 2 daughters with hurt knees. But I did use my Becker BK16 to cut down boxes. Very nice. It's a good knife. James, I like the way you said that. It's a good knife. There's something about single syllable words. Who's that? Someone was doing a speech analysis thing and saying that kind of, it's a good knife. Like that is a statement. I don't know. I just like that statement. It's full of single syllable kind of Nordic words, and it's to the point. There's not a lot of well, in terms of cutting instruments, bladed things, which I know we all want to talk about, are good. Instead of that, it's just like right to the point, and I love that. James Jones says, but just like the number 49 original Nimble, the Love Them Knives got stolen. I lost my knife thrive. Wait. Now I got to understand this. But just like you're saying, and I'm forgetting what the last thing you said was, but just like the number 49 original Nimble, the Love Them Knives knife got stolen, and I lost my knife thrive. I don't quite get it. I don't quite get what you mean. Because I don't remember that episode. I love them. I love Lee. I love them knives. I can't say I watch every video. I wasn't following that. I'm not sure what that is. Where are my manners? Good evening, Bob and fellow knife junkies. Michael Elliott, it's a pleasure. You jumped into the conversation, and that is appreciated. Yes, sir. I did design them for. Oh, right on. Okay. Did I meet you? Did I meet you at the table? There were 2 gentlemen on either side. I'm wondering. James Jones says, like knife styles of the rich and famous. Exactly. Okay. All right. Got you. My LUDT is the Gen 3. Okay. I gotta say, I'm not crazy about that. It could grow on me for sure. Actually, watching Dave's video made it grow on me. I didn't want it to grow on me. But I do include lights into my training as dulo, says Michael. I'm unfamiliar with with that term, dulo. Let me know what that, as the kids say, unpack that for me. Or as the good podcasters say, let's unpack dulo, i.e., what does that mean? LL Coil J says Strider SMF bronze aluminum. Oh, sweet. I love Strider, and I wouldn't mind having more, but they're just so expensive and kind of hard to come by. Cooper Clark says, pocket check. Chris Reeve Knives, Sebenza 31. Love that. With the inlay, I love the 31 inlays. The NAF's Large Lulu, the Vero Engineering Nova, the Jack Wolf Venom, the CWF brass flashlight, Pete's Pirate Life brass bid mini click pen, mini BID. Okay, so you guys with your pens and your flashlights, I love it. I just don't know any of them, but I need to get to know more of the pens. I'm way more a pen guy than flashlight guy, though I like flashlights enough. I could get way more into collecting pens than flashlights. I have a little pen collection, actually. I do like pens a lot. This is a cool one. I was just writing with it. This is a Coeco Lilliputian or something, Lilliput or something. It's just a small fountain pen. It's awesome. And it's not a cartridge pen. You draw the ink into the well, which is what I prefer. But it's rarer. Loser says, I regret not seeing Young Guns, but I did catch Lou Diamond Phillips in La Bamba. Oh, well, it's basically the same movie, but I actually do recommend Young Guns for the knife scenes. Craig Vincent says, little known fact, the real reason chef knives are responsible for the most knife deaths is due to food poisoning from cooks who don't keep their knives clean. That's almost believable. That's pretty funny. Pete Davidson says, Big Eye. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Big Eye Designs. They make titanium and brass hipster stuff like fidget spinners and I like the pens and the little box cutter. Say what you will. Oh, wait. Okay. Tell me what you mean by hipster stuff exactly. Here's the pinnacle of hipster stuff. The James brand last year or the year before came out with a special little tiny expensive knife, really small, that's just for cutting open vinyl. Just for cutting open. And if you're not hip enough to know what vinyl means, records, records like what you used to listen to music on, but it's a specialized knife just for that. And man, that's peak hipster. It doesn't get hipper than that in the knife world. It can't possibly. Tell me how it could get hipper than that knife, please. Loser says, will TSA allow us to bring knives on the plane if we tell them it's our emotional support knife? Yes, they will. Just say it's my ESK, man, and then have them call me and I'll clear you. Black Sable has the Tonto tip and a belly, just like me, says have a knife day. Yeah, no doubt, man. That is a cool looking knife. That would also be a cool fixed blade. Fixed blade. Drinkwater says Hinderer XM24 Warncliffe, like the most beautiful blade of all time. More beautiful than the XM18 Warncliffe. It's just the perfect length. The proportions of that knife are perfect. I love the Hinderer XM24 Warncliffe. One of my prized folders for sure. Why is my chair sweet? It sounds like I'm in an old wooden chair all of a sudden. Spyderco Little Native Warncliffe. Ooh, I like that. I like that Warncliffe. And the McBee. That's that teeny tiny. So is that the custom McBee or by McNeese knives, or is it the Spyderco McBee? Right? Spyderco did a version of that, right? Pete Davidson says, I give the missus grief about her overpriced Apple Watch. If she really knew how much all of these gadgets and blades cost, I would be in big trouble. Pete, be careful, man. Knife junkies who live in glass houses should be careful where they throw their stones, because you should be happy every time she buys something expensive. Every time she buys an iWatch or unnecessary tidbit or bauble, you should be grateful. Oh, I'm glad you got that for yourself. You deserve that, baby. Because you know why. Come on, man. Gus Beck says today, use it as cover. If I have to spell it out. Gus Beck says, today I carried and used the Giant Mouse Ace Fairley slip joint in Microtech and LMAX. Very nice. The CRK large Sebenza 31 with a black micarta inlay. A custom Zeba. Oh, Ostaz S3 #knife. All right. I'm going to put something out just to look at because I feel like I gab so much and don't show off all these damn cool knives I have out. Because, I was talking about, I will hold this up, Jed Hornbeak, because I had the Amygdala by Apex Alchemy, Billy Ford, one of our Gentleman Junkies. I had his knife, the one that he made, under the watchful eye of Jed Hornbeak in Jed Hornbeak's shop. So I pulled this out tonight. This is such a great knife. Pardon me. Doug Bull says, Bob, carried my ski do I got out of the storage drawer. Oh, nice. Sent to me by a good friend from Govan, Scotland in 1999. Very cool. We share the same last name. Handmade plain oak handle, 3.5 inch. So tell me, Doug, I know that, I've seen a lot of tourist ski and do's. How is this one? I'm assuming it's a nice one. Obviously, you're a knife guy, but like, how does it feel? Do you have room enough for your whole grip? Sometimes I feel like the handles might be really small. Tell me about the knife. I have a feeling it's legit, obviously, and so I've only seen the kind of tourist version. So tell me about it. I'm kind of fascinated by the knife, and I think I want to buy a custom version of one. And so I'm just curious. Robert Strevin says, hey, Bob, just wondering, do you have any special decorative knives like cases, Halloween, or Christmas knives? No, not either of those, but I have one that my wife bought for me right after my daughter was born. And it's my first daughter. And it's like got a little kid's drawing in the white bone, and it says daddy, and it's a cute little picture. So it's commemorative that way, but not like a holiday knife. I like the way, I get the Deadwood Knives catalog, and I get the Smoky Mountain Knife Work. Wait, who else sends out paper? Yeah, Smoky Mountain Knife Works catalog. And I love looking at the Christmas, every year they do a new Christmas thing. I love all those knives, but no, I don't have them. Pete Davidson says, lights are great for self-defense. The less tactical they look, the better. Oh, my God. Jim, go to this knife right here for a second, please. I can't bear it. And no one needs to see this. It itches. Oh, I have a gross. No, I'm not going to tell that. Okay, so Pete Davidson says, lights are great for self-defense. The less tactical they look, the better. Okay, just like backpacks, I'm starting to think, and bags, EDC bags. I have all these tactical looking things, and I'm like, maybe I'd be the first one shot if I have this on. Anyway, doesn't look good in the eyes of the law if you assault someone with a Rambo tool. Who's trying to wrong you? Well, it's true. It's true, but I do know in Australia, I think they're even less forgiving. So maybe here a flashlight, you might get more leeway, but I think that also depends on the jurisdiction and the cop. I think in my jurisdiction, well, I don't know. James Hart says, I keep a ski and do in my computer desk, and I used to wear it when going to Scottish festivals when wearing my kilt. So same question to you, James. Is this a good working knife, or not even working knife? Is this a good, like, small little weapony knife? I'm just curious. Thanks. The Aries just got the OD green variant now. Okay, the Aries. Sorry, I couldn't remember the name. I knew it was going to be a constellation because all Orion names are kind of named after constellations and heavenly bodies. But the Aries. Yeah, Aries. That makes sense too, because Aries, god of war. And that is definitely a very tactical looking knife, very warlike knife, a very cool looking knife, man. Loser says, I'm just gonna call you Lou because I don't think you're a loser, man. But Lou says, I link for Orion, a link for Orion knives in the chat would be helpful. Oh yeah, go for it. I'm all for it. Right there. There you go. OrionKnives.com. Oh yeah. And Jim put it in the chat. All right, cool. Yeah, go check those out. Oh my God. And the thing a main feature of the Aries is the pivot lock. I didn't even mention that. So imagine a knife. Well, you don't have to imagine it. You've seen a few of them, but the button, it's got a big pivot, and the lock is a button in the middle of the pivot. So pretty cool feature. Cooper Clark says, look into David Oscarson David Oscarson pens. They're very expensive, but beautiful pieces of art. All enameled glass on silver bodies. Ooh, like a Fabergé egg. Woo! What was that James Bond movie where they were going after the Fabergé egg? Fred the Lug, nice to have you here, Fred. Hello, all. New to this stream. Well, good to have you here, man. We're talking knives all the time. Actually, I'm talking so much, I'm showing very few. So I had this out. I was showing off the old Necromance from Jed Hornbeak. This thing is perfect. There's nothing. This is a perfect knife. I mean, he is an incredible machinist and a great designer. The only thing I would love to see is a larger bladed version of this in the future. But that thing is so awesome. Feels great in hand. Gary says it's mid-October and today was 98 degrees. Wow. Lovely, isn't it? It was not here. I'm in Virginia and it was cold. It was like in the, I don't know. I mean, cold, seasonal. It was like in the 50s today. Pete Davidson says, maybe you could get someone else to join Fred so he doesn't feel like he has to carry the show. Oh, that's an interesting thought. Would love to hear more about him. Me too. But then he'd have to kill you. No, I'm with you. That's a good suggestion, actually, too, to maybe have Vol West, who is French but speaks English very well, have him on with Fred. That could be a good idea. Doug Bull says, it's a good knife is like watching a black and white movie. Simple and easy to watch. That's right. That's right. It's a good knife. Fred the Lug says, pocket check for me today. Zach Perlo Deuterino. I don't know that at all. Craig Brown Cortex. American Wren. Fred's got some very nice taste. I love every American, is that how you say his name? American that I see. He makes some incredible looking knives. Craig Brown, I'm not sure I know Craig Brown or Zach Perlo. Can't decide which one I like better. Oof. So I'm wondering if the other two, I'm just surmising, are kind of similar in that art tactical Merkin way. To me, he's art tactical. Really cool stuff that you could go to war with. The way it looks, I've never held one. It looks stout as hell, but they're also very artful and tactical looking. Gary Bucco says, or I'm sorry, Gary, not sure what your last name, Bucquat. Just let me know. Bob, can you call me whatever? You can call me whatever you like. Just don't call me late for dinner. Okay, so then I'm going to call you Gary Bucco. And I'll tell you why. It reminds me of one of the characters in Dogs of War. One of the arms dealers. And now I can't remember his name. Do you want that I should call? Oh, Boucher. Okay, so it's not that similar, but still, I like it. Bucco. Pete Davidson says, Montverde pens are nice to collect. Lots of different styles and materials. If Ben Belkin didn't have a mullet, I would say he makes hipster knives. That's funny. Are you suggesting that mullets are not hipster? Wait, can you go back to that last one real quick? I think I may have. If Ben Belkin didn't have a mullet, I would say he makes hipster knives. Yeah, but a mullet is totally hipster. And I wouldn't call him a hipster, but that's like, you see that hairstyle in your neighborhood, rents are going up, as the meme says. James Hart says, now you got me thinking, what knife would I carry if I was stuck on a desert island? That's a hard one. Yeah, it is. It is. Trailmaster would do. David Nephilim Slayer, nice to have you here, David. If man live in glass house, he should answer the door. Yeah, that's good advice. But have something, behind your back. Something that makes a loud noise, just in case. Lou says it's good to keep secrets from your spouse, especially about gadget costs. I wouldn't put it that way, Lou. I pride myself on being a diplomat, and I would say that just as every girl has to have a secret or two, every guy has to have a secret or two, and let's let it be that. And then pretty much everything else, you're not deceptive. But why burden her with what has been? Because these knives are already in my collection. So there's nothing about that I can do now. Not even with Northern Knives Blade Exchange. Actually, you could do Northern Knives Blade Exchange. So you might check that out. Go to Northern Knives. They're up in Anchorage, Alaska. Go to their website, and they have a lot of cool knives that people have sent in, used knives, that you can trade knives to get. So check that out. David says, Almar, yes. Lacey Zabo, absolutely. Dirk Pinkerton, hell yes. Late to the show. This work stuff. I know, work. I got you. 3 great designers, and they have all been mentioned numerous times. I think Almar only one other time, but Pinkerton a bunch of times, Lacey Zabo a bunch of times. Lou says, I'm enjoying the excessive pocket post-nasal drip on the channel tonight. There's no drip. There's no drip. It's stuffy, like I can barely breathe, and it feels like I have mustache hairs growing into my nose. It itches, but I can't I can't do that. All right, now if I'm not self-conscious an hour and 35 minutes into it, you're just going to see more nose action. Blade Banter says pivot actuated compression lock, the Packle, called the wedge lock. Okay, I was looking for an acronym, but pivot actuated compression lock. Okay, so it's a compression lock. So it's got a little tab. Well, it's got a leaf that pops out with a little tab that locks into a something in the tang up top, and then you press the button on the pivot. That's so cool. That's so cool, man. Nicely done. Did you design that? I'm assuming you did. You're a very talented designer, so that's really freaking cool. I have 3 pivot actuated button locks, says Fred the Lug. Now, Fred, what are they? Let me know. I remember the first one I ever saw was the CRKT that came out on that $700 knife that was designed by someone. Who's that designed by? Maybe Icoma Korth, Flavio Icoma, I think, designed that. Gus Beck says, imagine a pivot lock proceeds to show us a Herman. Yeah, more, please. Yeah, exactly. I don't have a pivot lock. That's why I said, imagine. Dream with me, people. Dream with me. Shows a Herman. Yeah, with a tiny pivot, too. Like, this is probably, of all the knives, well, I don't have too many knives out here. Probably the worst one to show that concept. Octopussy for the egg. Thank you. Second favorite 80s James Bond movie. First was For Your Eyes Only, which I mention a lot. The girl with the crossbow. And the scene where he climbs up to the monastery. So freaking cool. James Hart. Yep. It's a very good knife. 1095, high carbon, 3.5 inch spear point blade. I'm so sorry, guys. Handle is 3.5 inches long with brass studs and pommel. It's not a weapon. It's an EDC knife of a Scotsman. Okay. I thought it was like you're wrestling on the ground. You grab it out of your sock and jam it in the throat kind of knife. But it's more of an EDC. And I guess that makes sense. They had Dirks for that purpose, right? Basically the same thing, just stretched out. Big E, the knife nut. Good to have you here, Big E. Hey, guys. Oh, I thought it was very funny that it just occurred to me that Dirk Pinkerton, his first name is Dirk. That's funny. And he became a knife maker, or a knife maker and designer. James Hart says, handle is wood. Yeah, oak. It's in a nice leather sheath. It's the EDC knife that rides in your sock, since kilts do not have pockets. Of course. But they do have those cool little pouches sometimes that they carry on belts. I wish that there was a legitimate way to carry a belt pouch without looking like you're a dork foresting for mushrooms in suburbia. Fred the Lug says, I have 3 pivot button lock knives. Riot prototype, PLXE, not released yet. Aurora Knives Truffles. And Vosteed Ankylo. I kind of remember that coming out. And Remet Peregrine Falcon. Oh, so that's 4. Very cool. Fred, you have some deep cuts here, man. It sounds like you got a cool collection. Craig Brown makes FSD, mini FSD, Cortex XL. I think those are his most popular. These are all custom. Yeah. FSD. These are tactical, right? These are like fixed blades. Cortex. I don't know. Nice. Fred Aurora Truffles is from the same OEM and Defcon's version. Okay. It's all Greek to me right now, unfortunately. Pete Davidson, James Bond with the eggs. View to a Kill? No. Octopussy. Grace Jones and Christopher Walken as the baddies. Had a cool knife fight scene with the circus guy. Mullets are not hipsters. Hipster in my country. Oh, that's funny. They are in Brooklyn, or any of your hipster neighborhoods of any of our large cities here. David Nephilim Slayer says, I use the Cat Shannon line. Everyone gets paid. Everyone goes home. Nice. Cat Shannon. Who's that? Oh, I hate to say that. Sounds like someone I should know. Sounds like a character. If you guys haven't seen the awesome Christopher Walken movie Dogs of War, I talk about it a lot. You have to see it. From about 1980, a young, wiry, crazy-looking Christopher Walken plays an American mercenary. Before mercenaries were just kind of, regular guys who this was back in the day when mercenary wasn't a contractor, I guess. And I don't mean to make that sound untoward in any way, but just the names. So back in the day, they called them mercenaries, and that's what he is. And he overthrows an African country that's sitting on a bunch of oil and diamonds. Gary Bucco says, I think a mullet equals redneck, not so much hipster. What do you think? Well, no. I know. But the hipsters wear them ironically, just like they wear mustaches ironically. It's not like it's just like, oh, look at me, I'm wearing a mustache. Isn't that, oh, look at me, I got a mullet. So I don't think that like Ben Belkin's mullet, since it's a topic of conversation, he is not like the kind of person I'm talking about. The kind of people that maybe I lived in close proximity to 15 years ago, but in Brooklyn, New York, not that part of Brooklyn. It was worn, it's worn like, look at me. And same with the shaved head side thing, or deadbolt lock. Yes. With the two locks, with the two bolts. I thought that was pretty cool. That's the CRKT one. It was just like this. You can look at the patent drawing, and that's what it looks like. Lou says, yeah, hear you, Pete Davidson. Bob says, do not burden your wife with what has been. Yes, don't do it. It's already happened, and we shouldn't be. All right, I have figured out what that means, and I don't think it's meaningless. Actually, it sounds pretty actually deliberate and serious. So, just because a fool is a fool doesn't mean the fool isn't saying serious things. Have a Knife Day says, my birthday was this last Tuesday. My wife's was Monday. That's cool. I shaved off my beard last Thursday. I saw that in the picture of you running with the flag. I am currently regrowing my mustache. And I know yours isn't an ironic one. I'll just grow that for several months, then the beard. I spoke with a gentleman last night, you'll see on Sunday, who had a spectacular handlebar mustache. Very cool. But he wasn't a skinny, scrawny 25-year-old. He was a, you know what I mean? Like, that would be ironic. Who calls himself a mixologist, even though he works at the corner bar. Knife Nut 69, good to have you here, Knife Nut. I'm late, but Matthew Christensen, Sharif Manganas. Yes, we've heard Sharif tonight, and Matthew Christensen was someone I was talking about before. I love his work, and I was talking about him because he's got something coming out with Concept, or Concept, however you pronounce that, and that's a great example of a knife maker who's out of reach for me, unless I sell a bunch of stuff, and But I would love to have a knife by him, designed by him, and Concept makes that possible. And they make great knives. David says Scots were big on the Bollocks dagger. Oh yeah, the Bollocks dagger. That had like the two lobes on the side look like testicles, right? And you kind of use it. It's sort of a. I saw a video about this. I need to remind myself exactly what the Bollocks dagger was. But yeah, I remember hearing about that, and I had never heard that expression, but I had seen it's not the double lobed dagger, but I'd seen something like it before in the weapons book I've had since I was a kid. Pete Davidson, do you have any experience with the axial lock, like the Lone Wolf Defender? I think Gerber used a version of it ages ago, the axial lock. No, I don't. I was thinking for a second that you meant SOG had one that was very similar for a while to the Axis lock. Sorry for all that noise. That worked similarly, but had a different trajectory. I thought maybe you're talking about that. Sorry, actually 4, says Fred. Yeah, that's 4 pretty nice ones, seems like. Robert says, so Bob, what do you think of the blade steel and hardness is on Freddy's glove on Nightmare on Elm Street? I think the cruel part of it is it's not heat treated. It's just nasty, jagged. It will chip on the bone and tear on the way out. Ugh. I was just telling kind of freaking my girls out, or my younger daughter anyway, about Freddy Krueger. The older one was pretending not to be freaked out, but I was telling them about Nightmare on Elm Street. My younger daughter is like, she wants me to tell her scary stories. And so I do. And then later she can't sleep. But usually it's the stories I tell her that I make up like right on the spot that scare her the most. James Hart says, but so very like soft steel, like soft and sharpened on cement, like just gonna do the worst damage possible. James Hart says, I also have, and tetanus. There's a little bit of rust on them too. James Hart says, I also have a Scottish dirk from Cold Steel. I remember when they made that. I don't know if they still do, but if they do, you can find it at Chicago Knife Works because they have everything. I bought it back in the late 80s or early 90s. The same usefulness as, say, the Bowie knife. Yes, and I think that dirk had a little bit of sharpened back edge. Am I right? Fred the Lug says, on the East Coast, gotta bail. Yeah, here. Late, have a great rest of the stream. Thank you so much, Fred. I appreciate it. Have a great night and have an awesome weekend. Join us next week, same time, same place. David says, Cat Shannon is what? No. 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 He is Chris Shannon or Chris Shannon, or and then he goes by another something else. His cover name when he's in country, when he's scoping out Zangaro for the first time, he's Mr. Oh, my brother would kill me. Okay, I'm not going to do this. Hipsters in my country usually have a Hitler style hairdo. Oh, well, yeah, we got that here too. You know, with the shaved on the side and then the combed. That's pretty funny. Doug Bull says, Bob, Mr. Brown. He's Keith Brown. That was his alias, Keith Brown, but his name was Chris Shannon. Doug Bull says, Bob, same size as your Sidewinder. Oh, okay. Both edges very sharp. Nice. Used primarily for concealed self-defense. Oh, this sounds a lot like the Pentagon, too. Heat-treated, forged blue blade. Both edges sharp. Same size as Sidewinder. Okay. Ooh, that sounds so awesome. Love it. Bollocks is like a rondelle. Okay. All right. Like a rondelle. And I've got that. And that's the one that I've got the Cold Steel version. That rondelle dagger was usually like a 3-sided dagger that knights would pull out when they got in the clinch. You know, they drop their pole arm or their giant sword or whatever. Now they're just wrestling, just trying to stab each other through their eye holes and through their neck slits. And Oof, nasty. Can you imagine that? We need to bring back handlebar mustaches. Lou, it's not going to be me though. Whenever I grow my beard, which is every winter, and then in the spring I shave it off, I always have a few hours with a walrus mustache. And I always think I look like a total badass until I start looking a little bit YMCA. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to shave it now. Knife Nut says the Concept Tarkin is under $200. Picked one up today. Man, they make such awesome knives. Even their more budget-friendly knives are stupendous. I'm thinking of the Main Street right now. Gus Beck says, did anyone mention RJ Martin? No one did, but yeah, I would definitely put him up there. And Sinkovich also. Martin Sinkovich, to me, those two guys are, well, they've collaborated, but they also are very, and Gus Cecchini, he's also a great one. I heard you say Les George. Yes, I love Les George. When I was talking about the dagger he did with Spartan, I was mentioning him. Both their works are amazing. Seemingly blending form with function. Isn't that the definition of good design? Form, yeah. Well, yeah. Like something that works exceptionally well and looks and feels exceptionally good in hand and looks exceptionally good. Yeah, I would say that is the definition. James says, okay, I have a Gerber folding knife from way back in the 80s. That used a bolt action lock. Oh, interesting. I still have it, but it's in my safe now. Oh, that's cool. So it kind of like maybe has something on a spring that slides and then slides over and something like that. And Harsey, of course, says Gus. Yeah, no doubt. Harsey, of course. Now, do I have anything up here? Oh my gosh, I haven't even shown this off. Let me show this off real quick here. This is the new one from Jack Wolf Knives. Have you guys seen this? So Ben just sent this to me. I got it. I got this while I was away for the weekend and came back, and it was a long weekend, and came back and finally got a chance to open it up, do an unboxing, and this thing is awesome. I really this is a large folding version of his Cyborg Jack. So that model that he designed himself, that pattern, I should say, that he developed himself with all the angles and stuff. Super comfortable, nice long clip point blade, 3.25 inches on the blade, and it has this incredible sound. Listen here. Do you hear that? I'm not sure if it's coming through, but it has a very distinct ting. Ting. And is it because of the thinness of that hollow grind? I'm not sure. It comes in a couple of varieties, and there's a Knife Center exclusive, I think it might be Knife Center, with it's all titanium with a purple anodization job in the area here between the bolsters. So it is a really cool looking one. But to me, of all the ones that have come out, I've been striking it lucky. I mean, I struck it lucky a long time ago. I get these Jack Wolf knives sent to me, and it's a great honor, and I love these damn things. But also, I frequently get the dress I like, you know, the knife dressing that I like, the colorway that I like, and in this case, it happened again. This thing's so freaking cool, just like this one right here. And I didn't think I wanted this one, or this one was not appealing to me until I had it and got to look at it with the naked eye. And man, look at those things. I just dig them. And we were talking about Ben before. It didn't even remind me to pull this out and take a look at it. But Ben is a hell of a guy too. He's a great dude, and he's definitely someone to take cues from if you're interested in starting a business, because he's started numerous businesses and he knows what he's doing. Clark Handmade is another awesome designer and builder, says Knife Nut 69. Clark Handmade. Is that Jason Clark? I think it might be Jason Clark. I believe I may have met him at Blade Show, but I love his stuff. And it's funny because I have a neighbor of the same name, and I'm always like, in my mind, I say, I wish you made knives too. He's a great guy, my neighbor. Just Google Gerber bolt action knife. Mine is the white handle. it's now a collector's item. Isn't that cool? You have something for years, you don't think about it, suddenly you're like, oh my God, this thing is worth like a mint. Pete Davidson says, Dave Wattenberg from ProTech. Hard to get and pricey in my country. Otherwise, I would own several of his knives. Love the fancy Godfather and the Godsons with the engraved and exotic materials. Yeah, they're special knives, man. They go the extra mile for their knives. But the TR3 the TR3 manual that just came out. Check out Dave's review, OG Blade Reviews knife video of that knife. It is such a cool knife. David Nephilim Slayer says, in 1970, Anglo-Irish mercenary Carlo Alfred Thomas Cat Shannon and his 4 fellow mercenaries, German ex-smuggler Kurt Semler, South African mortar expert Yanni Dupree, Belgian bazooka specialist Tiny Mark Vlamink, and Corsican knife fighter Jean-Baptiste Langer. He must be vive la mort, vive la guerre, vive la sacre mercenaire. He must be the guy that's one of my favorite characters in that movie, Corsican knife fighter. Bob, we'll text you time to hit the sack. Stay safe. You too, Doug. Have an awesome knife. Awesome knife. Have an awesome night and an awesome weekend for sure. Great to have you here, and we'll talk. Knife Nut 69. David Lespec designs some real beauties. Yeah, and he makes some real beauties for sure. I would love to have a David Lespec, and I know that James, who's here almost every week, has one. James Moore. Pete Davidson says, and the Walter Brend ProTech knives are pretty nice. I met Walter Brend. He is a really cool, old Southern gentleman. What an awesome dude. And he was going to come on the show, and then he got back to me. He's like, I don't think I'm up for this. And I said, cool, I'll meet you at Blade Show and we'll talk. And I met him at Blade Show and got him at a moment when he wasn't beset with people, and talked to him about 20 minutes, and he was so cool. So Walter Brand, I love his knives, and he was such a gentleman and a great old dude to talk to. And I think that does it for me. Awesome talking with you about Dogs of War. Let's carry on this conversation next week. I'm going to look up Cat Shannon, and then in the meantime, I'm going to go back over and make sure that I'm right. I know he went by Keith Brown when he was doing his mercenary work, but I thought it was Chris Shannon. Pretty sure it's Chris. But I love it. I love that there's another Dogs of War junkie out there. And we'll talk about it next week. All right. Be sure to join us on Sunday for episode 545 with Ken Brock of Brock Blades. We were talking ski and doos. He makes some really cool modern custom tactical ski and doos. So you got to check it out. And he's just a cool dude. So join us then. All right. For Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying until next time, don't take dull for an answer.